new head unit and new instrument cluster. So anyone who's seen the interior of a 62 knows that they're way outdated, so we're finally going to update that. And a little bit down the track, not today, we're probably going to do the wood grain delete and maybe a little bit of chrome delete while we're here, because these guys are absolute professionals at this stuff. Alright, so I just want to really quickly run through why I'm coming to EC Offroad and not getting one of the imported ones, because you go through the forums and everyone sort of goes, oh, you can get it like a little bit cheaper online. Yes, you probably can, but there's some key features why I'm coming here. Firstly, I want to say that I have skin in the game with this one. I've actually paid for it. This is not a freebie, this is not just something that's been given to me. Actually got skin in the game. So, main reason I wanted to come to EC is because they're a local company to me. They're a good Australian brand these days as well. So that also means with every gear that you get, you're going to get backup and support with it as well. So if something goes wrong with any of this stuff, I can drive straight back down here and say, oi, something's wrong with me bloody stuff. And they're going to jump in the car and they're going to fix it for me. As opposed to trying to buy it online and sending an email that they never reply to, or a phone call that doesn't actually get answered ever. That's what I wanted. I wanted to, this stuff isn't cheap. Like, modifying cars is not cheap. So putting this stuff into your car, I want to know I can come back down here and go, oh, no mate, this isn't working, make it work for me. And they'll do it, if that was the case. Not saying this is going to not work, but just having that backup behind you is absolutely key with any of this sort of stuff. Sure, if you want to go out and get the cheaper stuff, give it a go. Guaranteed you're going to be back down here going, oh, I bought this and it doesn't quite work for me. So that's why I'm at EC. Alright, so it's been about 6 months now since I got the head unit and dash in the car. I wanted to give it some real time before I actually spoke about it and use it, get some quirks out. It's got some quirks. Some quirks that I've had to go back to get fixed. Let's jump in the car. I'll run you through them and you can decide whether they're deal breakers for you or not. For me, they're not. I reckon I can work around them and they're good. A lot of them's been sorted out through EC. They've been really good at sorting stuff out for me. Those little things. Let's jump in the car. Have a look. Okay, so we're going to start with the instrument cluster first. So actually what I'm going to do is actually turn the car off so you can show the start sequence of what it does. So there's a permanent clock that stays up on the dash the entire time. So if I make it a bit brighter for you. So as soon as you open the car door, there's always a clock with a date there. It just looks nice, neat and tidy overall. So I like that aspect about it. So as soon as you start the car though, boom, EC Offroad pops up because they've loaded all that in. And then it goes into whatever the last menu is that you had. You do have multiple menus to pick from. Most of the time, I have it on this one here. So you've obviously got the main digital tacho in the middle, gives you a digital speed readout there, and then details on the side. Those details can be changed as well. So if I change it around, so you got battery voltage, oil pressure, liters per one, or instantaneous liters per 100, and then it gives you PSI for your factory TPS tyre pressure monitoring system overall. Obviously I don't have those tyres on at the moment, so it doesn't work for me currently. Then it goes back into the date and time, and then basically an overall of what's going on there. 9 times out of 10 I like to see how much fuel I'm sucking, because you know, these things suck a lot of fuel. Obviously it's got all the rest of the stuff, so you've got your thermostat up here, battery voltage down there in a grid style, auto for high, low for. The time, I do find the time's a little bit out every now and then. What else was there? There is obviously your tacho, your speed, your distance still empty, litres per 100, the average so far. A little picture of the car. I wish I could change that to a silver car, because you know, I have one. All of your off-road modes as well. So if I start flicking around with off-road modes, say I go with snow, it changes to snow, sand, on-road and rock. So that changes the display of what happens down there. If you're down the other side, you've got your oil pressure, and then you've got your fuel. So this, I don't know why, but this just seems to keep going down really fast. With the other modes, so you've got the off-road mode, so it gives you your roll degrees and your pitch degrees, and then obviously whether you're in 4 or low. So if I chuck this in neutral first and then go into 4 and then maybe 4 low, you sort of see it starts to light up, doing different things, telling you that there's now 50% torque front and rear because the transfer case has been initiated. So I'll put it back to, so you got 50 to 90% of your torque is going to go to your rear axle first, unless it sort of detects anything. It also tells you when you turn the wheel, your wheel, if I can show you through there, is at a 7-degree turn. So it's actually telling you on there that your wheel is turned as well. So turn a little bit, there we are. So everything sort of for off-road mode is actually really good. I've surprisingly used it more than I thought I would, to be honest with you. Alright, so then the last one is the Nismo screen. I thought I would like this one to begin with, but I don't know, it just seems like there's a lot going on, so I prefer the other one. But this one gives you RPM both in tacho, digital and tacho version of it, odometer, average litres per 100, and then distance till empty. And then on this side, basically still gives you that little bit of information in between, so you can change it to whatever you want. So if I want to have that on instantaneous in the middle, and then sort of just the speed on the outside. I think the main reason was I actually preferred having the digital speed readout, and then still having everything else sort of there, because if you go back to there, you can have it where that shows you the digital speed in the middle, but then you lose the instantaneous readout for what's going on overall. So it was that trade-off. So for me, I always tend to personally have it on this one, but everyone's going to be slightly different in what they like. Okay, so on startup, basically you can get a custom screen on the back of it. It will eventually pick up my phone. It takes around about 15 seconds or so. As soon as it does that, it'll jump across into Apple CarPlay. So pair successful, and then straight into Apple CarPlay. That's pretty much how it works. So you can go to whatever you want there. So Apple Maps, Spotify, make phone calls, do all that sort of stuff from there. So I'm not going to go through how Apple CarPlay works, because I'm fairly sure everyone knows. So you swipe down and it gives you this little thing up here, which takes you back to the main menu. Synergy is basically just another version of Maps. So you get all the applications, radio, Bluetooth, settings, and obviously Apple CarPlay. You can do some hotkeys up here if you wanted to. So since if you want a separate app that's on the main screen, you can add whatever you want from there. If you go into the applications, it just gives you all of the apps that are on the unit. So there's a whole bunch in here. Goes from there. So you can have Spotify separately to Apple CarPlay. So you're an Android person or whatever. You've got the Play Store, YouTube Kids, all the bits and bobs that are going there. So pretty much the normal amount of apps that you would have on your phone, you can have on here at the same time. So going into, I had a bunch of people ask me about the stereo side of it. So obviously this is a TIL, so it's got the extra amplifier in the back to help things work out. So it does give you full adjustability of everything. So if you're a complete nerd when it comes to audio stuff, this gives you full adjustability of everything. I'm not that much of a music guy, so I just use the presets, and that's enough for me. obviously all of the extra information that you'll need is all in there, which is quite handy. There are obviously other settings you can do as well. Obviously you can turn all the sensors and parking sensors and radars and all that sort of stuff on and off from the menu, which is quite nice to use. You can also do the rear headset units. This is one of the big ones that I had to ask EC and figure out how to do it, but it works nicely. So I can turn the rear headrest TVs on and off from here and control what they're viewing. So, and I can also play it, stop it, all the rest from here as well. So if I just want, say, the driver's side one on for Toby, because he sits on my side, I can just have heats on and pipers can be off or whatever. They can also be playing different things if you wanted to. So if you wanted to have a DVD for one and then USB for the other, perfectly capable of doing that. From there we can do air conditioning. So full air conditioning controls from the front. So you can turn the rear air conditioning on and off from here. Everything that you can control down here, down lower, can be done up there at the same time, and it's all visual from there. It does time out, so it goes back to the normal screen once you've sort of adjusted, so it won't stay on that screen overall. But you can turn everything on and off. Obviously the car's off at the moment, so it's not going to. Everything is there. Super handy and super useful in that regard. Couple other little notable things. Obviously you can do stuff like service intervals, so you can set your service intervals and everything else. Everything's it comes up with a warning on there saying, hey, you're due for a service, just in case for some reason you don't remember it, or your sticker up on your window isn't there for some reason. Whatever else. Radio function, pretty much go to the radio. You can have presets. All the steering wheel controls work as well, so you go up and down with the toggle there and you can cycle through it all there. Volume controls work, and then obviously your back button that works as well to take you back to the menu. Alright, so for this one I'm going to start the car. The reverse camera. So if I put on the brake, chuck that in reverse, we are good to go. The picture looks super average on this screen, but that's not to do with the screen, because the quality of the screen is actually really good. You can see that when you watch YouTube or whatever else, the picture quality comes out really well. This is just showing up how bad the cameras are from factory. You can change this around as well, so if I press the camera button, it gives you the side view and the rear view. Press it again, just gives you a full screen version of the rear, and then it goes back to the 360 and the rear view. The unit itself is basically like a shiny plastic. It looks relatively okay for what it is. It does tend to attract the dust, and it's very prone to fingerprints, which I hate. Luckily EC Offroad actually provide you with a little EC Offroad towel, which means you can literally, they give it to you because they want you to clean it, because who wants bloody dirty fingerprints all over your unit all the time, which is fair enough. So that's nice and handy there. The background can be changed to whatever you want, and then you can actually go into multiple apps. So if you want to start just closing random apps, you can also do split screen stuff. Well, not that particular one, but if you want to do that and then have something else on the right hand side, you can do split screen stuff as well. So you can utilize the full screen for multiple things that you want to use it for. So you can sort of get rid of all the other stuff that's not getting used, and then whatever else up on there. So some of the surprising parts I didn't actually realise I'd like about the unit, the tactileness of the switches. So that's a nice sort of feel to the dial, and obviously it's got stops on it. So stop, 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 stop. Like it's a physical sort of stop as you go around, which is actually quite nice to sort of feel. You can turn the rear aircon off from the switch as well, so I can turn that on there, and then that's basically going to control the rear aircon for what I'm doing at the back there. So I can turn that on and off from that point there, which is quite nice. So all the switches down the bottom here are pretty much everything else you need to know. So basically you got front demister, rear demister, up and down fan controls, mode for basically if you want to go from feet, all the rest of it, so basically cycle through them. Recycle air through the car, and then through air through the car. Down the bottom here is just a little extra hatch, which is actually super handy. So in there, basically keep my wallet and a couple of other bits and bobs. The wife made me a little change purse, just so the coins wouldn't rattle around everywhere, which is kind of cool. And it sort of just hides away, so it's a nice little hidey hole. I reckon someone breaks into your car and they don't really know what they're looking at, they probably wouldn't even really notice that. So yeah, but now that you know my wallet stays in there, please don't rob me. All of the other factory controls stay in place. So this does say heated and cooled seats down here, so you can see obviously the 3 lights light up for the cooled seats, but it doesn't actually do anything. You still have to use the factory controls to make them work overall, so everything is still controlled for there. These are obviously wired up, but they're redundant. EC still hasn't figured out how to make them work. The day that they figure out how they wire them into the factory stuff, I'm going there to get it done, because that would be freaking awesome, and I can utilize that real estate down the bottom for something else. I reckon that would be my main goal. Alright, so that's the main unit done. Now for the bad part, the negatives. There's always negatives, I'm sorry, but there's always negatives. Alright, so now time for some of the negative parts. So I have actually had to go back to EC Offroad a couple of times. A lot of it was to do with software side of it. There was no hardware failures. It was just some glitchy stuff within the software that sort of made it crash a couple of times, probably a couple too many times, that I wasn't happy with. They have done a software update, and they actually wrote some new software specifically because of the issue I was having, and it seems to have solved the issue for the most part. But what would happen was occasionally, probably in the last 6 months, probably about 3 or 4 times, it just randomly crashed, like full shutdown, mid-driving along, gone. Whole thing just turns off. All it done was restart itself and it was good again. But it was that point of, you didn't know what was going on while you were driving, or it was just weird and random to sort of have happen while you're mid-drive. The other big issue I was having, which is 95% solved now, apart from when I just drove back in the driveway an hour ago, which I'll go to that footage in a second. The reverse camera, it just wouldn't come on occasionally. So you'd literally chuck it in reverse and nothing. You get a black screen come up for the reverse camera. It just wouldn't work no matter what you try. That was super frustrating, because the reverse camera is kind of important. I'll quickly jump to this other footage again now, so you can have a look at that. So the irony of some of the negative parts of this video is I am getting home today to actually film this, and as I'm backing into my house, it done the old I don't want to actually turn on the reverse camera trick. So literally, say reversing into my house and reverse, no camera. So it does it every now and then, like press the camera button, nothing happens. Like go back into, say, drive or something, and maybe no, this doesn't work. So go to park, wait a second, go to reverse, no. So yeah, and there's little things like that it does that's what frustrates you. Like, yeah, it's not the end of the world. Like, I can reverse without a reverse camera, bloody hell. But say I really needed it to hook up a trailer or something like that, and like I'm by myself, then I'm going to do it unless I get out of the car 30,000 times. Probably not that many, but it's those little frustrations that could be better about the unit. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Well, it's definitely not good. I'm not saying it's the deal breaker, but it's one of the biggest frustrations I have with this entire unit is that it's just a little glitchy every now and then randomly. Like, if I could pick the thing that done it every single time, I'd be able to get them to fix it. Which is they fixed quite a few things on this to make it more reliable, which I believe they're doing to all the new units as well now. So you shouldn't be having a lot of the issues that I had early on, but it still does this. Very frustrating. Alright, cool. So that's just completely random that happened today, because it hasn't happened in a while. I used to find that if I rushed the car, and it still does it occasionally now, if I rush the car, say you start it up, chuck it straight in the drive and start driving, it'd struggle to work. It needs like just a little bit of extra time to sort itself out before it's sort of happy to get put into drive. It sounds really bad, but I think maybe the software is just a little bit too slow for a lot of people in the way they drive. Because how many times you got in the car, just slammed in the drive and off you go? Like, you're not hanging around because you're late for the kids, you're late for this, you're late for work. You don't have that extra 10-15 seconds to hang around while everything just fully boots up and it's ready to go. that's sort of probably the biggest quirk I had with it. Got around a fair bit of that by just turning off a lot of the software that I wasn't using anyway, which sped the whole process up, which has definitely improved it. So that coming into the driveway today was a complete anomaly. I don't know what happened there, to be honest with it, but it did what it did. 9 times out of 10 to fix that, it is literally just turn the car off, turn it back on again, and it's good to go. No dramas at all. And it's really hard to repeat. So I went down there a couple of times and could not get it to do it again. So yeah, but eventually we figured it out, and until today it was fixed. That's awkward. It is what it is though. Overall, would I buy the units again? Well, the instrument cluster, 1000% yes. I would buy that again in a heartbeat. It is one of the best mods that is inside the car. I absolutely love it, and I could not recommend it highly enough. The dash, well, with the promo code A4X4A, it's only $2,700 instead of $3,000. So yes, I would. As long as you acknowledge the fact that you're throwing away a $13,000 head unit that's in the car from factory and putting in a $3,000 head unit. So there's going to be a couple of quirks with it. You're not getting that research and development that Nissan put into it to make it sort of seamless and work. Like, it's old and clunky, the old one, but it never really crashed. But the new one isn't $13,000 worth, so you just need to recognise that at the same time. Would I buy it again though? Yes, I would. I think it's still an improvement from the factory one. I love it. I know the quirks, and I'm happy to work with the quirks. It is what it is. The other big complaint that I've had from other people, the phone unit, so it always connects. There's never been a drama with it not connecting. It's just the speaker where it goes. One, looks a bit ugly. I don't really like external speakers like that. I would have really preferred if they could figure out a way to use the factory speaker for the hands-free on the phone. But apparently every time I talk to someone, it sounds like I'm in a tunnel. It sounds like it's like really echoey and all the rest of the stuff. So that's probably not ideal, considering I talk to a lot of clients in my car. So I'm going to try and see if we can suss out a slightly better microphone to improve that somehow. Maybe, I don't know. See how we go. That might be a future update. Other than that, there's been no other dramas with the actual unit itself. It's been fine. No other complaints. I actually really like it. Like, this is going to sound really bad, and EC is probably going to look at me and go, what the hell are you saying? I was trying to find a reason not to like it. It sounds horrible when I say that, but I'm trying to be critical of the actual product, mainly because it's a lot of money. If you guys go out and spend your $5,000, which is what basically the two of them are together, and it's crap or it goes wrong, you're gonna message me and you're gonna say, hey Steve, why'd you tell me to go spend $5,000 on this stuff and it's horrible? I'm being critical because I don't want those messages. I'm being upfront with you because there are some quirks with it, and as long as you know about the quirks, you're not going to message me saying, hey, yeah, have you had this drama? If it's in the video, yes. If it's not in the video, no, I haven't. Like, I'm being 1000% honest with all of you, like I always am. It is what it is. And the Beast, I absolutely love it. I love the entire thing. I love everything about it. It's good. Alright, so don't forget the promo code of A4X4A if you want a 10% discount on selected products within the store. And hope you like the new footage. Like, the second half of this video is all recorded with the new camera. This is my new Canon R6 Mark II. So hopefully this footage is better than the first half of the footage. Otherwise I'm doing something wrong. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and see you next week.